Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dave Show. This is our second episode where Dave is going to talk to us about some creative stuff, advertising stuff, and extra creative nonsense that he likes to do. So first off, we had our first episode, and Dave didn't know that we were doing the episode. And then today he didn't know that we were doing the episode either, but I did give him a slight heads up. So Dave, is there anything, because I gave you a tiny heads up, that you want to talk about?
No, I didn't really have that much of a heads up. It was just kind of, I was going to take a shower, take a little nap. And you said, we're doing our second episode of the podcast. So let's go. Make the coffees this time and get going. Last time we didn't have a coffee. We just kind of woke up and we do our thing. And then it was a surprise. The camera was going and we were making a podcast.
Yes.
So it's nice that it's a surprise because I don't ever know actually what we're talking about. And it's just kind of, off the top. So whatever Jackie asks is what we're going to talk about. And I think it's better that way. Because when I think about things too much, or when anybody thinks about things too much, it becomes too planned. So I don't know. My creative process is best unplanned.
It's a great segue into what we're going to talk about. So there's a couple of things that we can talk about, and one of them is branding, and then also we could talk about social media. So you can decide the topic. When we talk about branding, though, I would rather talk about corporate, already established brand versus building your own brand, because that's a really tough conversation. I would say you really need like a lot of partners in that. So I don't think we even have the answers to all of that. We have like, you make the face, but I mean,
we have.
Well, look at how we struggle with our documentary site.
Yeah. I think whenever you're doing anything personal, I've always had a tough time doing anything personal to me, more so than when it's for somebody else. So when I'm trying to create something, whether it's a new product or a brand or my own website or a personal project, it always takes longer. It's always, we judge it a lot more. We're a lot more precious about it and, potentially a lot more scared just to get something out there. Whereas when you're working on somebody else's thing, you just kind of, there's a problem to solve. You go right at it and you just start going. I don't really know why we struggle to put our own stuff out there in the world a lot more than we, than putting somebody else's stuff out in the world. So I guess that's the challenge when building a personal brand. It's you kind of need you need outside opinion, and you need even when we're trying to build our own brand, it's probably best. I think the best idea is to get feedback and put things out as quick as possible, and to let people actually give feedback and help influence where something needs to go. Because when you stay in your own head for too long, you start judging things, and the reality is we don't really know. Nobody really knows, so it's best to put something out there and be collaborative.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of other things that go into it, like the algorithms, and then yes, you're like shaking your head, but they do, like, there is a preference to people who are verified versus not verified. There's a preference to people who have more followers versus less followers. And so your voice isn't going to get out there as much. And okay, shake your head.
I just think I think we make up excuses. I think we make up excuses.
Well, then why aren't you at like 10,000 people?
Because I don't put anything out of value. I personally don't put anything out of value. I put a lot of nonsense out. I get online and I'll start to talk, on my stories, and I'll just kind of spit a bunch of nonsense that, to me, it's my personality and it's fun to me. But there's no consistency and there's nothing of value that's like has longevity. So why would anybody follow me? Why would anybody come to my page and follow me personally? Because I don't really put anything out that's of value to them. And I think
Why haven't you done that?
Again, because I think, like, there's that hesitation of everything that I think of and all these ideas that I write down and everything that I'm excited about. Again, I have notepads and notepads and notepads filled with probably great shit, but I tend to keep it too close to the chest until I feel like it's ready to actually go out there. And then by the time it's actually maybe ready to go out there and share, I've kept it for so long that it may no longer be relevant, right? And it may no longer even be worth putting out there. And I think that's, that becomes part of the problem. Like even with some of my art projects, right? I'll work on something for so long and it's like I'm so excited about it, but then all of a sudden a year went past and like I've just kind of poked at it here and there. And by the time, I lose that passion maybe and lose that excitement for what I initially had for it. And again, it's a personal struggle that I think a lot of us have when we're working on personal stuff, personal brands, or personal, businesses. We tend to let it sit for too long that we lose the passion on it, or the excitement about it, or we overthink it, and it ends up kind of losing its momentum and kind of dies out. And I think momentum is a huge thing when building anything, any kind of brand or any kind of product or service, or you're working on any clients. It's about keeping the excitement up and keeping the excitement up for your team and the client or the brand or product that you're working on, and moving fast, right? Like putting things that a lot of times our first ideas are some of the best ideas. And if we just kind of put those out there in its rawest form and just get that out there to the world, we'll be able to generate that feedback a lot faster. And we'll be able to be told, we'll be able to learn quickly what is or what isn't working, or we'll be able to be judged and have that debate, whether we agree with the judgment or we don't agree with it. And we'll be able to just kind of continuously build on something and continuously put things out there. So I think the biggest thing when creating a brand is putting things out there. And, the market really decides. We keep things so close to our chest, and we go and think and stare at the ceiling and think things to death. But the reality is, put your first ideas out there, put some thoughts out there. As long as you feel passionate about it and you feel like there's something there, there's probably, I always thought something I say a lot is like, if I think something's really great or something's awesome or I'm excited about something, there's millions of other people out there that will think that same thing is great, exciting, and rally around. So get it out there quick and start to build on it so you don't lose the momentum.
Okay, so if you're waiting for feedback from people to like your post or not like your post, etc., then isn't it inauthentic? Aren't you overthinking it still? Isn't that not a good brand?
I think brand is.
We're not talking about corporations now. We're talking about
brand is brand. Brand is conversation. Brand is having something that people can rally around. That's what a brand is. Brand is something that people are excited about, excited to talk about. It's natural. It's not forced. You can't really force a brand on somebody and kind of tell people what you are. You have to put something out there and allow it to naturally and organically build and, just believe in something. So whatever it is that you believe in, you put it out there in an authentic way and you hit the right people. And that is the tough part. You have to put it out there. You have to put more things out there than just once. You can't just put something out there once and hope that thing catches fire and hits. You may have to put that same thing out different ways. You may have to write it different ways, present it in a different way. Maybe you just shared a video about it and nobody wanted to watch the video because it was way too long. So maybe the next time you just put a headline out about it, like we talked about last time.
I'm still gonna argue the point that I feel like that's... Sorry, a bird is flying around. She gets excited when we talk. I'm still gonna put this out there that, if you're putting it out there in different ways because you don't think that the first way was relatable or spoke to the audience that you want, then I would say that you're still overthinking it.
Brand builds over time. You don't build a brand with a post. You don't build a brand with one headline or one article. It's something that's developed, and it's something that it's a slow burn.
Right, and if it's a personal brand, though, shouldn't it just be so funny? She just flies right, like buzzes your head. If it's a personal brand, shouldn't it be, something that's shameless? You should just be not ashamed to put out whatever it is that you want to put out. Just put it out immediately and then move on to the next thing. Don't look back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think sometimes we overthink even what we are personally. And so
These are just personal brands. These are not corporate brands. Corporate brands should overthink their shit, and they shouldn't.
well, but a lot of times they overthink their stuff too, and then they become inauthentic because
Right.
they think they're one thing. We all think we're one thing, and we put that thing that we think we are out there into the world, and maybe maybe it gets a great response, and maybe it doesn't. And so brands do that too. We tend to strategize. We have working for big corporate brands, and I've done this, spent the last 20 years of my career. There's strategists, and there's 10 of them. There's account people, and there's 10 of them. There's creatives on the team, and there's 10 of them. There's all these layers and levels of very smart people in a room together trying to strategize and build whatever these brands or products are and whatever they're to become. And with that is a bunch of internal judgment and people that are so close to what they're trying to build that sometimes we lose sight about who are we actually talking to and what reality is. You're building something with 30 people in a room for a big corporate brand. We're talking to ourselves for months instead of putting something out there. We could have all been in the room the first day writing these briefs together and testing these things that we're talking about and discussing instantly, especially now.
Right, but you would be a little bit more careful with a corporate brand because there's a lot more things to think about.
Well, there's a lot more at stake.
Yeah, there's a lot more. There's shareholders, etc.
There's a lot, but if you're doing something honestly and authentically,
Yeah,
and you're not doing something we're not always just trying to get a rub, right? We're not always trying to I don't know, poke the fire. We're not trying to, if it's not going to hurt anybody and it's authentic and it's real and it's honest, then it should go out there into the world. If it's not honest and we feel like it doesn't represent us, again, because it's not honest, then there's something bigger at play, and we haven't found the right thing, and it doesn't feel relatable to us, so maybe that thing shouldn't go out. I'm not saying put every single thing out.
Yeah,
I'm saying put honest things out, and when you put something honest about you or your brand or whatever it is, then people will relate to it because they'll feel the authenticity, they'll feel the empathy, they'll feel related to whatever it is you're putting out.
I'm really hating the word authentic. I use it because it's what we all know to describe things, but honesty is really what we want, and that relatability. And you don't want to be fake. You just want to say like, hey, I'm similar in this sense to you, and we can all relate on this.
We're all, and that's good. We're all real people. It's just being real. Authentic. You can use whatever words, and that's another thing when you're working on big brands, or you're working with a lot of people at a big company for big products and big clients, that there's a lot of buzzwords, right? There's a lot of corporate jargon that kind of comes into play, and even those things are not real. We as real people, when we get into a room, all 30 of these people are real in real ways, in their own homes, in the way that they act with their own families, in the way that they act. Like, these people are real people. When they come to work and we start to work on a thing, we become inauthentic because we start to try to fit in with the mold of the environment, and people start using these words and these things and whatever that they wouldn't use at home. And so that alone, we start to build off of that. And when you start to build off of all these buzzwords, instead of take it down to its core and how you would interact with your family or people at home, if we did a lot more of that, we'd have a lot more authentic shit out in the world. And I think that's part of the problem. People are fake. We get fake when we get together, and people try to impress each other instead of just being real. And the idea is to be real. People are afraid. People are afraid because
don't want to be disliked.
Being real is being vulnerable, and people are afraid to be real and vulnerable. Even with this, right? Podcast, waking up, talking about the things that we're discussing, right? Like, we've been doing this for 20 years, but when we have real conversations and it's unedited and unfiltered, there's going to be a lot of things that we say when we're trying to find our thought that are like, oh, that made me sound stupid, or that made me sound whatever. That's the reality of, that's real life. So you can judge any micro moment, but the bigger picture is just again, it's just to be real. And when you're real and authentic, things work.
Yeah, and great example is I didn't want to talk about personal brands at all because I don't think we're good at it. I don't think you're good at it. I don't think I'm good at it. I think that it takes a shamelessness, and I've seen people who are shameless, and they're they're still not where they should be just for being in the art of shameless.
Yeah.
And when I talk about shamelessness, I just think that post whatever you want as much as you want, put it out there, and like it's not about seeing what sticks, like throwing spaghetti at the wall. It's more about just practicing, practice. It has nothing to do with whether or not this one gets this amount of likes or that one gets this amount of likes. That just has to do with the consistency of doing something and showing yourself to people. Well, the practice of being shameless is so important in life, and I have not mastered it because I'm full of shame.
Yeah.
Full of it. I don't like looking bad on camera. I've gotten better at it. I used to like wear makeup, like make sure that I had like my makeup and my hair done. And
yeah, I remember. I mean, even trying to film something, like, oh, let's take a picture, let's film this, and you're like, oh, I'm not ready for this, or we're not ready. It's
yeah.
Like, well, fuck, that's the moment right there. And it's like, we're not ready for it, and then all of a sudden we can't.
Or the
do
house
it.
isn't clean.
The house not clean, or whatever it is. Then it's like we can't do it, but it's like that was the time to do it, and that was the moment, and now the moment's passed, and we had a thought, we had a thing, but now we couldn't have put it out because we weren't ready. And the idea of like being ready is like you got to realize that everybody in their own environments are also not ready, but they can relate to they can relate to the messy house
yeah.
Or like look at like we got the coffee cup and the book on the table and the headphones and the pens, and it's just like that's our fucking life. That's us being ready to make it. That's what it is. You can't curate everything, or else again it becomes inauthentic. And I think that's what people always we've been trained to to be cautious or to have our guard up.
Well, also your family's gonna see it.
Yeah, everybody's. I mean, it pisses me off. Like even you say like you're not good at personal brand. Like that fucking drives me fucking nuts. It does, but it's
I
real.
Think you know what to do, but I don't think you're great at doing it yourself.
No, you're 100% right, and that's like fuck. But then when I go to work or I work on brands and clients and build brands, and I say it to myself all the time, like how the fuck do I build this brand? I work on this client or that client, and they're all huge. And we make really great stuff, and we get a lot of attention and a lot of press, or we build like great things over time. We sell a lot of products, and these things work that we've been doing for so long. And then you come home and you're like, oh, I want to make this thing, or I want to try that thing. And then again, you fill yourself with so much judgment, or you're so afraid to put something out there to be judged personally because now it's yours.
Right. And so all I'm trying to say is when I say you're not good at personal brand,
I'm not.
Yeah. I'm just trying to say, I'm just going to put it this way. How do you live a healthy lifestyle? I think we all know how to live a healthy lifestyle. I think we all know what we're supposed to eat and what we're not supposed to eat and how much exercise we're supposed to do a day and what our heart rate's supposed to be at, but we don't necessarily do it. And so it's with that practice, though, that you can get that experience and those tips and you can help people. And I don't think that we've practiced that shamelessness enough that we can actually give people tips on it. Like we can tell them, all day long, like be shameless, but we can't help them get over that hump of, actually doing it because we ourselves haven't gotten over that hump. Now, I would say that, Dave, you're further along than I am, and you're just, light years in shamelessness.
I think well, it's, shameless. That's a whole nother conversation, but I think it's, I think you can, again, we're talking about brand building.
You say shameless is a whole other conversation, but shameless is I don't have an iPhone, and I have a flip phone that records video. I'm going to record my little TV show here in my kitchen, just me talking to the camera, and then I'm going to post that to YouTube because I don't care about the quality. Yeah. I just care about getting it out there. That's shameless. Yeah. And I love that. You and I both love that, and you and I both admire this specific person for doing that, and we're in love with it. And every single time that we don't do something, we're like, oh, why can't we just do that? But that's what I'm talking about with shamelessness. I'm not talking about getting naked on camera or anything like that. It's ridiculous. That would be not authentic for you. Using that word again. That'd be not the real Dave. Dave is fully clothed. He's head to toe, fully clothed. He's wearing a turtleneck all the time.
They used to call me Naked Dave. They used to call me Naked Dave.
All right, it's been 20 minutes. Is there anything else that you want to say?
I think you know, we're talking about brand building, and we're talking about you know, putting stuff out there. Again, we had a good discussion, I think, about personal brand and big brands, and I don't think we got too deep into it. But again, we can talk forever. I think it's just about being authentic. Again, fuck authentic. Being real, and being human, the way that we all are. And I think, you know, if I had any suggestions, it's like, even when you're going to work or you're building your own company, your own brand, it's about being the most real self, being your most real self, or being as true as you can to the product or the service or the whatever it is that you're putting out, and just put it out, and don't overdo it, don't overjudge it, because I think when we do, it becomes fake, and people can feel when it's fake, and that it's no longer relatable, because we can all just feel it. When you watch something out there in the world, you watch a lot of these even TV commercials, it's just like they're trying so hard to be relatable, and they're trying so hard to get our attention, and they're just overdoing it, and it becomes like, you know, it almost becomes cringeworthy. It is cringeworthy. It's like fuck, you can't relate to it in any way, and then you hate them. And I think when you're real and raw and vulnerable and put yourself out there,
Just show your emotion.
just show your true self.
What
And
you're
again,
thinking.
I think that's the same thing when we go to work, we talked about earlier, and you're getting together with 30 people, 5 people, whatever it is. Don't change who you are to fit the mold. That's gonna fuck you up, and that's gonna make you terrible at what you do, and that's gonna make you terrible at your job. I think we all become good at our jobs. We all can find success when we all bring our own true self to the table, because then we bring something different to the table. And then when 5 different people come to the table and bring their real selves, incredible things start to happen. When we come to the table with 5 people, and we start using each other's buzzwords and the same things, and we start saying the same things and speaking the same language, there's no debate, there's no rubs, there's nothing to like push off against, and then we're just trying to get to a place of agreeability, agreement, or whatever it is. I make up words, I don't even know if these are words, but we try to just agree so much that we're just trying, that it just becomes a thing of getting it done, and then we have nothing true to offer the world, and you can't be a brand if you're not putting your true self out there.
And one other thing that I want to say is people are not brands. People are just people. I understand that, you know, this is a new thing that, you know, was created a decade ago, that people want to be brands. That's just so weird. And I think that's why people are so confused about what's authentic and what's not, is because you're trying to call yourself a brand. You're a human being, and people like you or don't like you, just incorporate yourself. And
even if people don't like you, there is a group out there of people that will like you. Like, and that's another thing. It's like, you can be the weirdest, you know, person, or the weirdest like version of what, and there's a group out there that is for you.
All right, I guess we're not ending this at 20 minutes, because now I have more to say about the brand. I really do hate it when people say like, that's my brand, and really, you know, you should just say, you know, that's my character. Because that, like, growing up, it was all about like, who are you, what is your character, and what type of person are you going to become. And that's what this term brand is it's just your character. Who the hell are you, and why do I want to listen to you, hang out with you, or even have you be a part of my life?
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. And I think we buzzwords. we try to call ourselves things, and we try to be things, and we try to fit in with things that are, again, and sometimes these words are just relatable to the world, and that's why we end up using them. We call ourselves this or that or whatever it is, because that's what we think the other side, the people across the table, or the people out there in the world that we're putting ourselves out there to show, will understand. So if we say brand or this or that, instead of say character or whatever it is, it's like picking certain words will allow ourselves to, oh, I know what you're talking about, or I don't know what you're talking about, and you don't have to go into explaining it. So that's sometimes why, you know, we kind of use those things like brand.
Yeah, because we just all know what we're all talking about, but I just fucking hate it. It dehumanizes somebody right off the bat.
Well, it also becomes sometimes when you're like, I'm a brand or this or that,
Yeah.
it becomes, oh fuck, what do you want from me, or what are you trying to sell me, or what are you trying to whatever, because they have different, there's different people associate to these things differently, and it's like, I'm a brand. It's like, okay, now you're all of a sudden thinking that you're selling something or you want something from somebody or whatever it is, and that's not necessarily what a brand is. Brand is, put your true self, I think, out there again, and having something to offer. We're gonna say the same thing over and over again. It's just
Yeah,
related. It's just relatable, but I think that's people get confused what certain things mean, again, because it doesn't fucking mean anything. It's just be a fucking person.
Yeah, just be a fucking person.
Just be a person and have conversations and have debates with people, and that's okay. And discuss things, and the more that you discuss an idea and share thoughts and like share, don't overthink it, the more you'll be able to like bounce off of each other and have things to say and have conversation and build off of each other's stuff. And then all of a sudden, within that thing that you might have said or that insight, there becomes a spark, and there becomes something that you both relate to and you get excited about. And that thing, then you go off on that subject and that topic, and then it becomes bigger, and then you unfold it a lot more, and then all of a sudden it's like you're on to something, and then you start to narrow in. All these things that we just discussed, there may be one little thing within that one little spark that becomes the bigger thing, that you wanna fucking talk about more, and then you build off of that thing because there's excitement, or there's something that's relatable between whoever it is that you're talking about it. Anyway, it's really tough to get these things down to 20 minutes because this is a fucking lifetime of work, or a lifetime of things that we just
you just have to, like, the people who make it, they all just show themselves all the time, and we get sick of it as their friends. We don't like it, but other people do, and they're not trying to speak to their friends in this way. They're trying to speak to everybody, and they're just trying to show their entire life. And
the world's gonna just do more shit for themselves.
yeah, they're just doing it for themselves.
We gotta do more shit for ourselves. We gotta put more stuff out there that we just like ourselves, and it really doesn't fucking matter. And by doing that, we'll be able to see a lot more.
If you thought of your Instagram account as your personal and private scrapbook, like your personal private diary scrapbook that nobody could get into, yet the whole world sees it, you would have a great brand.
Exactly. But
And that's that.
that's that.
All right, that's it.
Not saying anything
All
else
right.
after that.
We're just under 30 minutes. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dave's mom and Dave's sister and
My mom didn't even watch it. My mom actually said, she's like,
Delani.
it's funny because mother says, how long is it? 20 minutes? She's like, I can't watch something that's 20 minutes. That's way too long. Bye, Ma.